Basenji origin story. This breed was not bred by man, but appeared on the African continent a very long time ago. Images of a lean dog, as well as an extinct greyhound, are found on artifacts dating back to the Shi dynasty of the pharaohs of Egypt, who ruled during the Middle Kingdom in the XX 18th centuries BC.E. They were originally kept to hunt small animals, tracking and herding them in the net. The Basenji breed was described by Europeans in the Congo in 1895 and named Basenji. She is highly regarded by the locals for her courage, intelligence, quickness and silence. These dogs, like the wild Australian dingoes, do not bark. After the discovery and description of the breed, several attempts were made to bring Basenji to England, but they all ended in failure, since the animals died from diseases. For example, Lady Helen Nutting in the 23rd year of the last century brought 6 individuals from Sudan, but they all died without even leaving the quarantine zone. Only in the 30s they were successfully brought to England, and then, by Heinrich Trefflich, to America, 1941. All dogs in Europe and the USA are the ancestors of these animals. The breed was registered with the AKC in 1943. At the request of the American Club in 1990, the AKC studbook was reopened for the Basenji, and then for the selected imported dogs from January 1, 2009 to December 31, 2013. An expedition of American dog handlers collected breeding individuals in villages in the Basenji region of the Congo in 2010. The dogs are also registered with the United Kennel Club. Fun fact, Basenji-like dogs are common across much of Africa, but the original base stock of the breed came from the Congo Basin's old-growth forests. It was there that the structure and type of the breed were formed, adapting to the habitat and during the use of animals for hunting in extremely dense vegetation. This breed was defined as basal, that is, preceding the emergence of modern breeds. Recent DNA studies based on whole genome sequences show that the domestic dog is a genetic subspecies of the gray wolf. She came out of the now extinct population of late Pleistocene wolves. First of all, Basenji and dingo belong to her. The term basal means a line that branches off at the beginning of a group, is the base of a branch that originates from a common ancestor. Basenji, description of the breed. Small, short-haired dogs with straight ears, heavily curled tails and graceful necks. Optimum height is 43 cm for males and 40.5 cm for bitches. Variations of 2 to 3 cm with harmonious addition do not matter much. The optimum weight is 10.9 kg for males and 9.5 kg for bitches. General view of the animal, slim, the body is close to a square in outline, lightweight bone, aristocratic posture, long legs in a slightly shortened format, high neck set. Flat forehead of medium width. The forehead has pronounced wrinkles, the muzzle tapers towards the tip of the nose. There is a slightly visible transition from the forehead to the muzzle is chiseled, the nose is black. The eyes are almond-shaped, dark brown or dark brown. The ears are set high, not large, standing upright, slightly directed forward. The shoulders are moderately laid back. The scapula and shoulder are approximately the same length. The elbows are well pressed against the chest. The legs are straight, with clean thin bone, a long forearm and well-defined tendons. The pasterns are of good length, strong and flexible. Feet are small, compact, oval. Dew claws are usually removed. The tail is set high. The ischial tubercles are located well beyond the base of the tail. Sometimes it has 2 curls. These dogs are athletic and built with a graceful, confident gait. They move in double gallop, at maximum speed they straighten their tightly curled tail for balance. Popular Basenji colors. The breed standard recognizes 4 colors, red and white, black and white, tricolor, tiger. All options provide specific mandatory features. White does not prevail over the main color. Fawn spots are acceptable. All color spots should have clear boundaries. White markings are found on the chest, nose, end of the tail, and on the feet. The reddish-white color is a bright, rich, juicy red uniform color without impurities with clear boundaries with white zones. This is the most common type of color in Basenji, which is sometimes called red and white, so bright is the main color. The most rare is black and white. Animals with this color have the mane black, which shines brick red in the sun. White spots are located in the same place as in their red counterparts. Pure black colors are also possible, which are also called full black. For him, muddy shades are possible, which appear later. Interesting fact, animals with a tricolor combine black, white and red, where the main color is black, tan marks on the face, on the cheekbones, inside the ears, above the eyes, on the chest, inside the legs and other places. White in the same places as the reddish-white color, but does not predominate. The tiger suit is characterized by a brick red and black series of clear narrow stripes. The more distinctly they are expressed, the more valuable this color is. The red background can range from reddish tones to dark brown with a red tint. This color standard was adopted by some countries by the FCI members in 2000. For exhibitions, this color is permissible only in these countries. There are non-standard colors that are not allowed to participate in exhibitions. For example, trindle means a mixture of tricolor with brindle. There are also fawn and blue colors that do not meet the standards. Dogs with black and back color, as well as with a trindle, have a recessive gene, and when mated with representatives of accepted colors, they have offspring that meet breed standards. The nature and habits of the Basenji. Basenji are very sensitive, alert, energetic, curious, wary of strangers, they are affectionate with family members, and friendly to children. These pets tend to become emotionally attached to one person. They get along well with other dogs, they can find a common language with domestic cats in the family, but on the street they begin to hunt them with enthusiasm. They do not get along with other pets, hamsters, rats, guinea pigs, birds, perceiving them as prey. In the same way, any living creature on the street is perceived by the dog as an object for hunting, while the prey will be lowly brought to the owner. Interesting fact, Basenji do not like rainy and damp weather and oppose such walks in every possible way, but they love to climb over fences and overcome obstacles. The character of this dog is cheerful. She brings a lot of joyful moments to the family, but at the same time the animal is very independent. The dog is easily trained, although due to liveliness of character it cannot concentrate on training for more than 10 minutes. In order for an animal to correctly execute commands, it must understand why it needs to be done and recognize the absolute leader in the owner. By suppressing character, cruel and rude behavior, you can get a timid, withdrawn or stubborn aggressive animal. The Basenji's intelligence, curiosity and perseverance are great. He, like a cat, can climb onto a table or closet to get a hidden treat and will not do it during the day, but wait until the night or when all the owners leave the apartment. They can show amazing resourcefulness in achieving goals. And if he does not escape from the apartment, then in a private house you need to be vigilant, since a low fence or holes in the fence will allow him to freely go out to explore the surroundings. To spend their irrepressible energy with the dogs, you need to walk a lot, do joint jogging, if possible, go out into nature. This dog is a good friend and partner, an excellent hunter, but a bad watchman, as it does not know how to bark. Basenji love different competitions, these are trekking, agility contests, bait contests, obedience, running after a mechanical hare. Interesting facts about Basenji. The name of the breed comes from the language of the Lingala people in Congo, Mbwanabi Asenzi, which means forest dogs, but it has several more names: forest creature, forest dog from Congo, Zan dog, Bongo terrier, Congo terrier, Nyam terrier. The dog does not bark, but it can make strange sounds, similar to Tyrolean tunes, yodel. Such a characteristic singing is associated with the shape of the structure of the larynx. According to one theory, the inability to bark is the result of selection in the conditions of life in Central Africa. Barking could attract enemies to people's homes. If something interesting happens, then out of curiosity, the Basenji can stand on their hind legs and stand so without support. They can wash themselves with their paws like cats. In 1905, these dogs first appeared at the Berlin Zoo as exotic animals. According to the American Kennel Club, the popularity of Basenjis in the United States has declined over the past decade. The breed took 71st place in 1999, 84th in 2006, 93rd in 2011. Basenji, like dingoes and singing New Guinea dogs, only enter estrus once a year, while others have 2 breeding seasons each year. In ancient Egypt, the Basenji were given to the pharaohs as a talisman. Their mummies are found in ancient tombs. Similar animals can be found in ancient Nubian tombs. In his work The Intelligence of Dogs, Stanley Coren Ph.D. rates Basenji intelligence at 78 points out of 79. They have almost no equal in search. But some consider these figures to be even underestimated, since they take into account the ability to obey the command. These dogs are more intelligent than obedient and determine their own further actions, which can bring results. Pros and cons of Basenji. The positive character traits of these freedom-loving dogs include the fact that they do not cause allergies. Their short coat does not cause concern and unnecessary worries to the owners, as it almost does not shed. Another positive property is the absence of a characteristic odor. Interesting fact, Basenji do not bother households and neighbors by barking and are also good companions and have good health. The small size of the animal allows them to be kept in a small apartment. This breed of dog has excellent hunting qualities, which allows hunters to use it actively. The disadvantages include their increased energy and ingenuity in tricks. Without an active pastime, out of boredom, they can misbehave at home, ruin things. It takes a lot of time for walking, as well as ingenuity, to keep the dog on a fenced area or to keep it on a leash, otherwise the dog, obeying hunting instincts, can hit the chase at any minute. The fact that the dog does not bark can be regarded as a minus, since in the absence of the owners of the Basenji it can howl and make specific sounds, but they do not get bored with their own kind. These dogs do not like wet weather and do not climb into the water. In cold weather, they need additional clothing in the form of blankets or overalls. Walking with them around the city, you need to keep them on a leash, as they are very active and they are not afraid of transport, and you can lose your dog under the wheels of a car. As a minus, it can be considered that this breed does not get along with other small pets. Do not leave food unattended, the Basenji will steal it from the most inaccessible places. They are difficult to train. The Basenji have survived for millennia as independent thinkers. They see no need to obey people. Positive learning may work to some extent, but they will choose when to submit. Breeding Basenji. This breed has an estrus period once a year. A bitch's first heat usually begins at the age of 1.5 years. The animal needs to be prepared for mating, check its health, put all vaccinations, drive out worms. The case is made at the place of residence of the dog. Young animals that are mating for the first time may need the help of an owner or an instructor. At the first meeting, the bitch needs time to get to know the territory and the partner. Even with a successful mating, a follow-up checkup is necessary, which can be held the next day. At first, it is difficult to assess the success of mating. An attentive owner may notice a decrease in activity and increased need for food. By the beginning of the second month of pregnancy, the dog is slightly distributed in the ribs. After another week, her nipples begin to swell. For the last 2 weeks, the belly increases noticeably, and by the end of the term it drops. If the owner has no experience, then it is better to invite a veterinarian at the time of childbirth. An important fact, during pregnancy and during the nursing period, the bitch needs to be fed with wholesome healthy food, rich in vitamins and proteins, but not overfeeding, so that the animal does not get fat. There are usually 4 to 5 puppies in a litter. Even before they appear, it is necessary to find and equip an appropriate place for the mother and babies in the house. After 3 weeks, they need to be given an anthelmintic. You also need to register the puppies and enter a map for the entire litter and each puppy, where their appearance will be described and evaluated. From 2 months it is necessary to vaccinate animals. This breed needs training and socialization very early in life. To do this, you can enroll in special training courses or in a puppy class where, under the supervision of a specialist, you can train and educate a dog as well as help it socialize among similar 4-legged babies. Basenji care. It is easy to care for the coat of Congolese terriers since it is very short and soft. You just need to sometimes walk over it, wiping it with a gloved hand or a special brush. This can be done about once a week. Such cleaning removes loose hairs, dead epithelium, will make the dog look well groomed and keep the house clean. While cleaning the coat, carefully examine the pet so as not to miss the presence of ulcers, peeling, redness, and rashes on the skin. Since these pets are odorless, they do not need washing, despite the fact that they do not like water procedures. It is possible to wash a dog in those cases if it got into something. This happens to it infrequently, as it does not like puddles and mud. The pet's nails need to be trimmed periodically, as they do not have time to wear out and can cause pain to the animal and problems when running. In addition, excessively long claws can scratch the owner and family members when the pet, in a fit of affection, jumps on the person. Basenji needs to brush your teeth daily, or at least 2 to 3 times a week. Train your puppy to do this from infancy to remove plaque, bacteria, and tartar. Brushing will prevent gum disease and bad mouth odor. Inspect your pet's ears periodically, gently clean them with a tight cotton swab. They must be clean, odorless. A weekly examination will allow the owner to notice problems in time at an early stage and not to miss the beginning of the development of any disease. Basenji diet. The Basenji is an active dog of small stature, and its diet should correspond to both temperament and size, be high in calories, and of high quality, regardless of whether it is purchased in the store or prepared at home. Any diet should be appropriate for the dog's age, taking into account who it is intended for. A puppy, an active adult animal or an older family friend. Some dogs tend to be overweight, so keep an eye on your pet's calorie intake and weight level. An additional treat during training is a good incentive to repeat commands, but too much can lead to obesity, so the amount of food given out in the form of reward in the general diet should be considered. Check with your veterinarian if you have any concerns about your dog's weight or diet. Clean, fresh water should always be available. Recommended daily amount of cooked food. 1 cup, divided into 2 meals. The feed must be of excellent quality. How much food your pet needs depends on height and weight, age, body type, metabolism, activity level. Animals differ from each other. What an active young dog needs may be overkill for an older dog who spends more time on the couch. The quality of the finished food is also important. The better the food, the more nutritious and healthy it will be. In urban conditions, it is easier to keep the animal on ready-made feed, there is no need to weigh, measure and cook food for the pet. Do not mix ready-made dry food and natural food. If you choose a natural diet, then the dogs are unpretentious and will eat everything that is offered to them, and therefore you need to choose a diet according to the weight and type of activity of the dogs, what the dog handlers recommend. With its light and dry build, Basenji can be compared to a deer. This dog is poorly adapted to being overweight and therefore it should not be allowed to get fat. Measure the amount of food strictly twice a day and do not leave it in reserve. If the pet has gained excess weight, then increase physical activity, reduce the portion of food. To do the test, place your palms on your pet's back parallel to your spine. Put your fingers down. You should feel, not see, the ribs. If they are not felt, then the dog needs to reduce its diet and increase its activity. Diseases and health problems. African Terriers are generally healthy, but like all breeds, they are prone to certain diseases. Not all Basenjis can have this or that disease, but you need to know about them. Fanconi syndrome is a kidney disease that affects the normal processing of sugars and proteins. In this case, the protein necessary for survival is washed out. Signs of illness include excessive thirst, frequent urination, increased urinary glucose. Usually diagnosed in dogs between 4 and 7 years old. Previously, Fanconi syndrome was considered fatal, but the new way of dealing with the disease has increased the duration. Treatment is not necessarily expensive, but time-consuming. The breeder should show you which dogs in the pedigree have had offspring with Fanconi syndrome and which have not. Immunoproliferative systemic bowel disease, commonly called malabsorption, is similar to irritable bowel disease in humans. These dogs seem to have a persistent allergic reaction to the food. They have chronic loose stools and problems with weight gain. Treatment includes minimizing stress, changing diet frequently, and reducing the histamine response with medication. Pyruvate kinase deficiency, hemolytic anemia. It is a genetic condition where there are 2 defective genes for the production of pyruvate kinase, an enzyme necessary to maintain healthy red blood cells. Animals with this disease usually do not live to see their second birthday. Hypothyroidism is caused by a deficiency in thyroid hormone and is fraught with infertility, obesity, mental dullness and lack of energy. The dog's fur can become rough and brittle and begin to fall out, and the skin becomes tough and dark. The disease can be managed very well by taking daily thyroid replacement hormone pills. The medication should be taken throughout the dog's life. Residual pupillary membrane is the filaments of tissue in the eye, remnants of the fetal membrane, that fed the lens of the eye before birth. They usually disappear by the time the puppy is 4 to 5 weeks old, but sometimes they persist. Filaments can extend along the iris, from the iris to the lens, or from the cornea to the iris, and are sometimes found in the anterior chamber of the eye. In many dogs, this defect does not cause any problems and, as a rule, disappears by 8 weeks. If the threads do not dissolve, they can lead to cataracts or corneal opacity. Eye drops prescribed by your veterinarian can help. Coloboma is the general name for a gap or hole in the structure of the eye. A tear can occur anywhere in the eye, usually at the bottom. It is likely that the disease is hereditary. The consequences of the condition can be moderate or severe, depending on the size and location of the hole. Affected puppies should be spayed so they do not transmit the condition. Progressive retinal atrophy is a series of eye conditions that involve the progressive deterioration of the retina. At the beginning of the disease, pets have poor vision at dusk. As the disease progresses, they also lose daytime vision. Many dogs adapt very well to limited or complete loss of vision if their environment remains unchanged. Dysplasia of the hip joint. This disease is inherited. The femoral head does not fit well to the joint. Animals may experience pain or limp in one or both paws, but you may not notice any signs of discomfort. As the dog ages, arthritis can develop. If suspected, an X-ray examination is necessary. Dogs with dysplasia should not be bred. Basenji. Price and how to buy correctly. If you decide to buy a Congolese Terrier puppy, find a good breeder who will show you the health records of both parents of your future pet. The puppy's medical records must prove that the dog has been tested and cleared of worms. Ask for confirmation that the parents have been tested for dysplasia. The disease is hereditary, although it can be caused by environmental factors such as too much weight of the puppy, injuries resulting from jumping or falling on a slippery floor. See if your baby has an umbilical hernia. It is present at birth when abdominal fat or internal organs protrude against the abdominal wall near the navel. If the hernia is small, then it closes itself by 6 months. Some dogs live with small hernias all their lives without difficulty. Large hernias require surgery, which is used to prevent a condition in which an intestinal loop enters the hernia, causing life-threatening intestinal pinching. An important fact. A vet must be issued with a baby passport with vaccination marks, puppy's metric. It must include information about the breeder, parents, date of birth and the name of the pet. If the dog is supposed to be exhibited in the future, then this document is then changed to a pedigree. The cost $400. Private breeders have a lower price, about $200. The Basenji is a breed with unusual habits and is very intelligent. Buying such a dog, you need to come to terms with its stubbornness and love of freedom, independent character. Despite this, many animal lovers, even royals, appreciate and give birth to her, and four-legged friends respond with affection and devotion.